The power goes out. No lights, no heat, no signal, no warning. At first, it feels like a normal outage, something we've all been through, but then the hours turn into a full day. The food in the fridge starts to go bad, the phone battery is gone, the house gets cold. And the silence? That's when it hits you. This isn't temporary. This is collapse. Now ask yourself honestly, what would you do if the power didn't come back for days, maybe even weeks? No fridge, no microwave, no lights, no internet, no gas pump, no updates. Would you have the right gear to cook, stay warm, stay safe, and just make it through? Most people don't. They've got candles and maybe a flashlight, that's it. But when the grid fails, you need more than that. You need emergency tools designed for exactly this scenario gear that works with no electricity, no batteries, and no help. In this video, we're breaking down 10 emergency products that can actually keep you alive during a real power collapse. Not gimmicks, not theories, just tools that do one job, keep you moving when the grid shuts down. If you're serious about preparing for reality, not just short outages, hit that subscribe button. We break down what works, every single week. Number 1, oil lamp with extra fuel. When the power goes out, the first thing everyone reaches for is light. And while flashlights and lanterns are great, they all rely on batteries. Batteries that run out. Batteries that fail in the cold. Batteries that weren't charged when the blackout hit. That's why one of the smartest old-school tools you can own is an oil lamp, a simple, reliable source of light that doesn't care about electricity. Oil lamps have been around for centuries, and for good reason. They work. Fill it, light it, and you've got hours of clean, steady light enough to cook, move, read, or just keep the darkness at bay. And unlike candles, oil lamps are safer, burn longer, and don't drip wax all over your stuff. You control the flame. You control the brightness. And with the right setup, one lamp can light an entire room. You'll want a model with a wide, stable base and glass chimney to protect the flame from drafts. Keep a few quarts of lamp oil or clean kerosene on hand, stored safely, of course. 1 quart can give you up to 40 hours of light. That's real value when the power's been out for days. Don't forget the replacement wicks. A single wick lasts a while, but having backups means you're not scrambling in the dark later. Store everything in a metal or plastic tub with a lid. That way you've got a self-contained lighting kit ready to go when you need it. And yes, you can go decorative or simple, but make sure it's functional. You're not lighting a mood, you're lighting a house when the grid is down and the flashlights are dead. Most people laugh off oil lamps as old-fashioned, until the batteries die, until the solar gear fails, until they're sitting in total darkness with no backup. Be the person who's ready. Light up the dark every night if you have to, with gear that never needed a socket to begin with. Number 2. Cast iron skillet. When the grid goes down, your electric stove is useless. Your microwave? Dead. And unless you've got an indoor safe propane setup or a grill that runs without power, cooking becomes a serious challenge. That's where the cast iron skillet earns its place as one of the most underrated emergency essentials you can own. This isn't just a cooking pan, it's a survival tool. Cast iron works on almost any heat source. Open flames, charcoal, propane stoves, wood-burning fire pits, and even hot rocks. When other cookware melts, warps, or fails, cast iron stays solid. You can cook over a backyard fire, an outdoor grill, or even a rocket stove, and this thing will perform like it's made for it because it is. It holds heat evenly, cooks food thoroughly, and doesn't need delicate care. Bacon, eggs, rice, beans, flatbread, soup, if you can heat it, you can cook it in cast iron. And unlike non-stick pans that chip or scratch, cast iron gets better the more you use it. Season it right and it becomes naturally non-stick over time. No chemicals, no coatings, just oil and heat. But here's the best part. It lasts forever. Literally. People pass these down through generations. One skillet in your emergency kit means you're never without a way to prepare food no matter how long the blackout lasts. Get a 10 to 12-inch model with a deep enough base for frying or simmering. Don't forget the handle cover or oven mitt, because this thing gets hot all the way through. And yes, it's heavy, but that's the price of indestructibility. If you're storing buckets of dry food but haven't thought about how to cook it without a kitchen, you've got a big gap in your plan. A cast iron skillet fills that gap permanently. It's not about being old school, it's about being off-grid ready. And this one item turns fire into food every single time. Number 3. Collapsible water container, 510 gallon. When the power goes out, water is the next domino to fall, and most people don't even see it coming. If the pumps fail, the pressure drops, or contamination hits the supply, the taps stop running. And by the time you realize it, it's already too late to do anything about it unless you've got a way to store water fast. That's where a collapsible water container becomes a true lifesaver. Unlike bulky jugs or fixed tanks, collapsible containers can be stored flat in a drawer, a shelf, or a bug-out bag and filled on the spot when the emergency hits. You keep them tucked away, then in those first crucial minutes of a blackout or alert, you fill them from the tap before the system goes dry. Go for the 5 to 10 gallon range. That's enough to keep a small family going for a couple of days, and you can carry it without breaking your back. Look for food-grade plastic with a strong handle and a tight spout. Some models even come with a built-in tap, so you don't need to lift or pour, just set it on a table and dispense. This isn't just about drinking. It's about cooking, cleaning, flushing, and basic hygiene. Most people underestimate how much water they use in a day until it's gone. And while bottled water is great, it doesn't help you cook rice, wash hands, or flush a toilet. Collapsible containers give you flexibility. You can store them empty, stack multiple in a closet, or keep one in your car. And if the situation stretches longer than expected, they're easy to refill from a creek, rainwater barrel, or community tank. They don't break. They don't leak. They don't take up space. And when the water shuts off, they're worth more than gold. Most people think water problems only happen in extreme disasters. But one bad storm, one pipeline break, one contamination alert, and it's your problem now. Get ahead of it, store smart, and make sure you have a way to hold the one thing your body can't go without. Number 4, hand-powered food processor or grinder. Most people stock up on food, rice, beans, grains, dried fruits, oats, and that's smart. But they never think about the next step. How are you going to actually prepare and eat all that food when the power's out? You won't be blending smoothies or firing up the food processor. That's why a hand-powered grinder or food processor is one of the smartest survival tools you can have. This isn't a luxury item, it's how you turn bulk food into usable food. Dry beans take forever to cook unless you grind them. Grains become flour, oats become porridge, seeds turn into paste. And for families with kids, elderly, or anyone with digestion issues, soft food is not just easier to eat, it's safer. A manual processor gives you control. You decide the texture. You process what you need. When you need it, no power, no noise, no overheating. Whether you're turning lentils into meals or grinding herbs, spices, and nuts for survival recipes, this one tool opens up a whole new level of cooking. And it's not just for meals. You can grind dried garlic, dehydrate and crush vegetables, or make baby food from scratch. If you're running low on fuel, grinding food also helps it cook faster, saving time, energy, and resources. Look for a sturdy build metal or high-grade plastic, stainless steel blades, and suction or clamp base to keep it in place. Avoid cheap plastic models with weak gears. You want something that can handle real food, not just soft fruit. If you've ever tried to mash chickpeas or rice by hand, you know how exhausting it is. Now imagine doing that for every meal, for days. A crank-style grinder does the hard work for you, and it never runs out of charge. In a world without power, the way you prepare food changes completely. A manual food processor bridges that gap. It turns basic ingredients into actual meals with no electricity, no guesswork, and no waste. You've got the food. Now get the tool that lets you use it every single day if you have to. Number 5. Window insulation film or plastic sheeting. When the power collapses during winter, your home starts losing heat fast. The heater shuts off, cold air seeps in, and windows turn into ice-cold radiators draining warmth from every room. Most people don't realize how fast a house can turn from cozy to freezing until it happens. That's where window insulation film or heavy plastic sheeting becomes an absolute game changer. This isn't just about staying comfortable, it's about preventing cold-related illness, keeping your energy up, and protecting water pipes from freezing. A simple sheet of clear plastic applied properly can reduce heat loss through windows by more than 50%. That's not a theory. That's real-world performance backed by decades of cold weather prepping. Insulation film kits are designed to seal directly onto window frames using double-sided tape and a hairdryer. Once sealed, they form a clear barrier that traps a layer of still air the same way a double-pane window does. And guess what? It works. Your room stays noticeably warmer, longer, and you don't need power to make it happen. If you can't find window kits, heavy-duty clear plastic sheeting and duct tape do the same job. Just cut to size, seal tight, and reinforce with extra tape. You can even use it to cover broken windows or block off unused rooms to concentrate heat in smaller spaces. Plastic sheeting also doubles as weather protection. Use it to seal off doorways, line floors, or patch up leaks in the roof. It's waterproof, windproof, and durable enough to reuse if stored properly. Don't wait until you're already cold to try and fix the problem. Store insulation film before winter hits. One kit can seal multiple windows, weighs almost nothing, and takes up less space than a folded towel. In survival, comfort becomes performance. A warm room means better sleep, clearer thinking, and less risk of getting sick. It's not a luxury, it's a buffer between you and the cold. So if you're relying on blankets alone to get through a winter blackout, you're missing a key part of the equation. Seal the windows, trap the heat, and stay ahead of the cold before it takes control. Number 6. Battery organizer plus tester kit. Everyone stocks up on batteries for a blackout, but here's what most people miss. If you don't organize and track them properly, half of them will be dead when you need them most. That's why a battery organizer with a built-in tester is one of the most overlooked but essential emergency tools you can own. Think about it. In a real power collapse, your flashlights, radios, lanterns, headlamps, they all run on batteries. And if you're rummaging through a junk drawer full of loose AAs and guessing which ones work, you're wasting time and putting yourself at risk. A proper organizer keeps everything sorted by type AAAAA, 9VCD, so when the lights go out, you know exactly what you've got. But the real power is in the tester. It tells you which batteries are good, which are weak, and which are completely dead, no more guesswork. That means you don't accidentally load up a flashlight with duds and find out the hard way. It also helps you rotate your stock and use older batteries first before they degrade in storage. Look for an organizer that holds at least 50 to 100 batteries and has a secure lid. Many models can be mounted to a wall or stored flat in a drawer. A built-in tester should work without external power and support multiple battery types. Pro tip: label the purchase date on battery packs or write it directly on the battery with a marker. This helps track lifespan and avoids long expired backups. And here's the truth, batteries are a limited resource in a long blackout. When stores are closed and deliveries are down, your stash becomes your lifeline. Every working battery matters. Every dead one wastes space and creates risk. A battery organizer isn't just about being neat, it's about being ready. You've spent good money on batteries. Make sure you actually know which ones are still alive. Number 7. Rechargeable electric lighter. In a real power outage, fire becomes more important than most people realize. You need it to cook, to boil water, to stay warm, and sometimes even just to light up a space. But here's the catch. Traditional lighters run out of fuel fast, and matches get soggy, break, or burn out in the wind. That's why a rechargeable electric lighter deserves a place in every emergency kit. This isn't your typical gas lighter. It doesn't use fluid, it doesn't need flint, and it doesn't rely on a flame. Instead, it creates a windproof electric arc that's hot enough to light paper, candles, stoves, and kindling in seconds. And because it's rechargeable by USB, you can plug it into a solar power bank or battery pack and keep it working for weeks without ever needing new fuel. If you've got candles or fire-starting gear in your kit, a lighter is useless if it won't work when the weather turns bad. An electric arc lighter works even in wind or drizzle, and you never have to worry about it leaking or drying out. That's what makes it so much more reliable than traditional options. Get one with a long, flexible neck for safety and reach perfect for lighting stoves, grills, or campfires without burning your fingers. Most models give you hundreds of lights per charge and weigh almost nothing. Keep one in your go bag and another at home. Even better, many come with built-in child safety locks or auto shut-off features, so you're getting convenience, safety, and off-grid reliability all in one tool. Matches are fine as a backup. Gas lighters might get you through a short storm, but when the blackout stretches into days or weeks, you need something you can count on every time you strike. This isn't about fancy gear. It's about gear that works with zero excuses. Number 8. Manual water purifier, pump style. When the power goes out, it doesn't just take away your lights, it can also knock out your access to clean water. If the water treatment plants stop working, if pressure drops in your area, or if you're relying on stored rainwater, suddenly every drop becomes a risk. And that's where a manual water purifier, especially a pump-style model, becomes one of the most critical survival tools you can own. Boiling water takes fuel, and lots of it. Waiting on purification tablets can take hours. But a manual pump purifier lets you clean water on demand, pulling from lakes, rivers, rain barrels, or even puddles, and turning it into safe, drinkable water in minutes. These units use physical filters, usually ceramic, carbon, or hollow fiber membranes, to remove bacteria, protozoa, sediment, and in some cases even viruses. And unlike gravity filters or straws, a pump gives you control. You decide how much to clean and when. In a long-term outage, you can't rely on hauling bottled water or hoping your tap stays clean. You need the ability to purify any source, anywhere. A pump purifier means you're never stuck drinking something risky or skipping hydration just to play it safe. Choose a model with a replaceable filter, durable construction, and a hose long enough to reach into awkward containers or streams. Some come with adapters that let you screw them directly onto bottles or hydration bladders, even better. And here's a key point most people overlook. Hydration is about energy, not just thirst. If you're low on water, everything gets harder. Your thinking slows, your muscles cramp. You take more risks and make worse decisions. Clean water isn't a convenience, it's your survival foundation. In a power-down scenario, water becomes the first resource people run out of. Don't wait until you're dehydrated or sick to realize you had no plan. A manual pump purifier isn't optional. It's what makes every other part of your plan possible. Number 9. Offline First Aid Guidebook. When disaster hits and the power is out, your internet is gone. Your phone might still work for a while until the battery dies or the towers go down. And in that moment, when someone's hurt, bleeding, or in pain, you'll realize something terrifying. You have no idea what to do. That's why an offline first aid guidebook is one of the smartest and most underappreciated survival tools you can own. Most people have a first aid kit. Gauze, antiseptic, bandages, great. But without proper knowledge, it's just a box of random supplies. What do you do for burns? For broken bones? For infections? For a child with a high fever or an allergic reaction? You can't Google it anymore. You need instructions that work without power. A physical guidebook doesn't crash. It doesn't need charging. It sits quietly on a shelf or in your bag until the moment you need it most, and then it can literally save a life. Look for one with step-by-step instructions, clear diagrams, and coverage for common injuries, illnesses, and crisis scenarios. The best ones are written for non-professionals, people with no medical background but a willingness to follow directions. It should cover everything from CPR to treating infections, identifying dehydration, stopping bleeding, setting splints, and even basic triage if there are multiple people hurt. You want something that gives you calm, structured action in a moment when panic could cost you. And don't forget the psychological edge. Just having that book in your hands gives you focus. It tells your brain, I have a plan, I know what to do. That kind of confidence can keep you going when everything else is falling apart. Tuck it into your emergency drawer. Slide it next to your first aid kit. Keep a second copy in your bug-out bag. It doesn't weigh much, it doesn't expire, and it never needs updating. You're already preparing your home. You're stocking food, water, tools. Now stock your knowledge, because when someone you love is hurt, you'll wish you had this book open, not a dead phone in your hand. Number 10. Mini propane heater, indoor safe. When the power collapses in the dead of winter, cold becomes your biggest threat. Not hunger, not even water, cold. And once the temperature inside your home drops below 50, then 40, then 30, it's not just uncomfortable, it's dangerous. That's where an indoor-safe mini propane heater becomes a true lifesaver. Unlike bulky home heating systems, these compact heaters are built to run off small 1-pound or 20-pound propane cylinders. That means no electricity, no central systems, no grid. Just press the ignition, and you've got instant heat where you need it most, your bedroom, your living space, or a shelter-in-place setup during freezing weather. You want one rated for indoor use, meaning it comes with an oxygen depletion sensor and tip-over shutoff for safety. Brands like Mr. Heater make models specifically designed for emergency home use. They're portable, efficient, and can warm up a room in minutes. And when used properly with ventilation, they're safe even in tightly sealed spaces. Pair it with extra propane bottles. A single 1-pound tank can last up to 5 hours on low, and larger cylinders can stretch for days. Store them upright, outside your main living area, and rotate your stock if stored long-term. This isn't just about comfort. In freezing temps, cold exposure leads to hypothermia, poor decision-making, and sickness, especially in children, the elderly, and anyone already weakened by stress or hunger. A warm space gives you more than heat. It gives you mental clarity, morale, and a survival advantage. And here's what most people forget. You can't heat a whole house in a blackout, but you don't have to. With a mini propane heater, you can heat one safe room, and that's all you need to survive the cold nights. The grid might fail, your power might vanish. But your heat source? That's in your hands if you plan for it. When the grid fails, everything changes. You're no longer living in comfort, you're surviving hour by hour. No lights, no heat, no running water, no communication. In that kind of world, the gear you've already stocked is all you've got. And as you've seen, it's not the biggest, flashiest tools that make the difference, it's the smart, reliable ones that keep you alive. Each item we covered isn't about fear, it's about being ready. Being calm when everyone else is scrambling, whether it's lighting a room, cooking a meal, storing water, or just staying warm through a freezing night. These aren't backup plans. These are your frontline defenses when everything else is gone. The worst time to realize you're unprepared is when the lights are already out. So take this list seriously. Check your supplies. Fill in the gaps. And if even one of these tools was something you hadn't thought about, then this video just gave you an edge. And if you're the kind of person who doesn't want to be caught off guard when things go sideways, hit that subscribe button now. We break it all down. No hype, no fluff, just real prep that works.